The Puck Portfolio with Andy MacNeil.
Hello and welcome to the Puck Portfolio. I'm your host, Andy MacNeil. I'm here on weekdays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, that is, to provide NHL projections and picks and betting advice and all that good stuff. And I'm here again. It's Tuesday, January 9th. We've got a 10-game NHL slate. Another winner on Monday's show, the Vancouver Canucks, plus 135, 0.75 units. Won a little bit more than a unit and change on the Vancouver Canucks. They cruised to a win. The Rangers threw everything at them, but Demko was great. Igor Shesterkin was not. And the Vancouver Canucks, they continue to roll. They actually, they haven't been rolling a whole lot lately. That was the first, only the second time, I believe, in the last 15 games or the last month or so that Vancouver has actually won back-to-back games. So they've been winning a lot, but they just haven't been able to string a lot of consecutive wins together. But yeah, that was a pretty good night of hockey. 4 really entertaining games, 2 really entertaining games. The third one was the Flyers and the Penguins was mostly just entertaining because of all the extracurricular stuff that happened in that game. And of course, some drama unfolding in Philadelphia with Cutter Gauthier, fresh off a World Junior Championship with Team USA, had apparently let the Flyers know last May that he was not going to play with the Philadelphia Flyers, the team that drafted him 5th overall a couple of years ago. So they had to make a deal, and his stock was never going to be higher than it was after that World Junior Championship, at least not for the Flyers anyways, because as soon as word would have got out that he preferred not to play with the Flyers, his stock would have dropped a lot. So you look at the return, Jamie Drysdale, the Flyers get a player that projects to be a top 4 defenseman at some point. That's kind of where people see him going. But he hasn't got there yet, but it's a player that the Flyers can put into their lineup right away and start developing. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, that really shook up the hockey world last night, and the drama has continued into today as we see now. There is some beef with Kevin Hayes, who departed from the Flyers not after following last season, I believe. Had a bit of apparently a falling out with Torts and stuff. Not a great relationship with him. Gauthier had named Hayes as a guy that he really looks up to and somebody that he can call every day. So then the rumors started to fly. Well, maybe Hayes told them not to play in Philadelphia. But either way, definitely raised the excitement level on a Monday, and then we capped everything off with an exciting game between the Bruins and the Avalanche. The Avalanche got the win in overtime over the Boston Bruins 4-3. So yeah, we've got a really good number on our best bet for Tuesday. That's the Los Angeles Kings. We bet the Kings at plus 110 on Monday's show, and the Kings are now a much bigger favorite, as I said they should be. Minus 116 at NorthStar Bets. This show is sponsored by NorthStar Bets. We'll be using NorthStar Bets odds on this show. So check them out via the link in the description below. They offer great odds on the next day's NHL games. That's where we got the plus 110 on the Los Angeles Kings on Monday. And yeah, I tuned into some sports betting shows briefly this morning, 2 of them, in fact, and saw that both had given out the LA Kings at a much worse number, I might add, because, nobody's first to market like the Puck Portfolio. We're out there putting our opinions out before anybody else because that's where you get some value, right? I mean, holding on to your opinion until the day of, after the market has matured. If you're in the content space, I don't really know why you're doing that. Unless you're a professional bettor, then yeah, there's not too many of those out there. Probably a lot more people saying they're professional bettors than there actually are professional bettors. That's for sure. But we'll get into the projections today. We're going to talk about Tuesday's 10-game slate, add a bet or two here to our bet on the LA Kings, which, like I said, very happy about the number right now. But thanks for joining me today on the show. Appreciate it as always. Appreciate you guys sharing my tweets on Twitter, helping me get the word out about the puck portfolio. I really, I got to admit, I'm a little bit discouraged. I was talking to Jake prior to the show, and all we've done, we've won all season long. We had one kind of rough month in December, and it wasn't even that bad, just a little bit of a downturn. Other than that, it's been October was great. November was even better. January's been good. We're on a 9-4 run in 2024, betting mostly big underdogs. We're talking plus 130, plus 150, etc. Not very many favorites mixed in there over those last 13 bets. A 9-4 run heading into 2024, hoping to keep it going here on Tuesday. But yeah, just a little bit discouraged that, like, what else can I do here? Am I not exciting enough for you people? Trying to get the viewers up, the numbers up on this show. And I feel like we've plateaued a little bit. So if you guys can help me out, spread the word, let everybody know that I'm out here every day, weekdays, on the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel, dishing out projections before anybody else. People are talking about Monday's games already. I'm already giving you the handicap for Tuesday. So don't take that for granted, because there's nobody else out there right now that's doing that. So I'm trying to help you guys out, and it's been going good. We got a double-digit return on investment so far this season, and we're up into the double-digit mark in the units as well, approaching back. We hit the 20 unit mark earlier this season, came back down. We're working our way back up there. 16.6 units on the NHL money line on the season. We're 2-0 on totals. We just started betting totals recently. Going to add another one today. Hopefully, bring that to 3-0 on totals this season. But money lines, that's what mostly we focus on. Up to almost, I believe, 159 bets this season, hitting at a 54% rate. So very happy with that. But yeah, let's get into the projections here. And I'll talk about the bets that I'm going to add, because some things have moved around since Monday's show, and that's gonna maybe help us get down on another bet or two. Mitch in the chat telling me I'm crushing the content. I'm entertaining. I thanks. Yeah, I'm informative and profitable. The numbers will come. Appreciate your vote of confidence, Mitch. Appreciate you tuning in every day. And Connor, he knows it's total season. So let's talk about the total that I'm going to add here, because some of you might have already guessed, because I've been talking about the Islanders as being an over team for quite some time. We know Ilya Sorokin is going to be in goal on Tuesday, and we're likely going to see Casey DeSmith in goal for the Vancouver Canucks. So I am going to bet 1 unit on over 6.5 goals. At even money. That is the current odds at those are the current odds at NorthStar Bets. And like I said, 1 unit to win 1 unit over 6.5. Either we'll wipe out all of our profit on totals this season, or we'll double it up. But yeah, over 6.5. Thatcher Demko was in goal last night for the Vancouver Canucks. And yeah. Oh, if you'll excuse me for a second. Hi. I'm gonna lock that in right now. I mean, I did lock it in, but I'm going to track it. I locked my bets in earlier, but I like to wait to track them, because things can move around, and I don't want to give myself a number that I got before anybody else even knew that I bet on the game. So best price in market right now is over 6.5 plus 101, and we can get even money, i.e. plus 100 at NorthStar Bets. So yeah, 1 unit on over 6.5 in the Canucks and the Islanders game. I'm going to track that right now, and there I did it. So just going to pull up here. We're looking at Vancouver. They are, like I said, they're 60% to the over this season. And the Islanders, they're up there as well. The Islanders are 59% to the over this season. So, the Islanders are a team that people still think are, a defensive powerhouse. They're not. They've got great goaltending, but that hasn't translated into, a low goals against average. I mean, at home, they're allowing 3.05 goals per game. On the road, they're allowing 3.16 goals per game. And they're scoring up over 3.25 goals per game on both the home ice and on the road. So the Islanders, they've got a lot more offense than people give them credit for. Vancouver, I mean, they need to clean things up after last night. They were lucky that they got out to the lead that they were able to get out to, and then they were lucky that they kept capitalizing on the Rangers' mistakes. The Rangers did make some very costly mistakes in that game, despite tilting the ice toward the Vancouver Canucks. So, yeah, I like the over here a lot in this one. It's my favorite total play so far this season. I will just jump back here and see. Um, so over 6.5 at even money. My model currently has this game projected for 6.96 goals. So, yeah, I like this one. I like this one a lot. Um, Feeling a little bit more confident. I've been tracking things behind the scenes, just my basically my handicap, and I'm feeling a little bit more confident about my total, my handicapping on the NHL totals. So yeah, that's my next bet for Tuesday. Um, Over 6.5, even money in the Vancouver Canucks and the New York Islanders game. Um, Minus 113 now for the LA Kings. So we got a lot of value there. That's what the model has for Los Angeles. They're in Tampa Bay taking on the Lightning. And that one is definitely has definitely moved exactly how I thought it would. Now, I want to talk about the San Jose Sharks here for a minute. I was talking to Connor in on Twitter via DM this morning, and he told me that he grabbed a big price on the San Jose Sharks. I haven't bet the Sharks yet, and um, I don't want you guys to think that I don't trust the model. I just don't. I mean, there are 32 teams. And is it that crazy to think that, hey, there's one team or two teams that it really doesn't do a good job of capturing, the true talent of, and San Jose is such an outlier. I mean, they've been underperforming where you would expect them to, even based on things like expected goals and whatnot, for quite some time. And of course, the Sharks did have that run there where they were playing 500 hockey and defying expectations, but I haven't bet on them yet. Of course, it's the Maple Leafs, and we know how the Maple Leafs tend to underperform as big favorites, particularly on home ice this season. Or actually, it's been more on the. It's been pretty equal actually when it comes to the big favorites, but um, the Maple Leafs haven't been a great bet on home ice. That's what I was going for. Toronto has not been profitable. You'd be down almost 3 units if you had bet 1 unit per game on the Toronto Maple Leafs. So yeah, I have not bet the San Jose Sharks yet. I don't know if I'm going to. I mean, it's according to the model, there's a big edge there. NorthStar Bets plus 330. Some exchanges out there plus 370. So that's kind of what that's telling you what the true price is, which I am very far away from because the model says minus 292. I think that's as much as it is the San Jose Sharks problem in that they are an outlier. They're very hard to get a handle on. The Maple Leafs fall into that category as well because I think I've got them ranked a lot lower than the market does on average, and that's going to result in the model telling you to bet against the Maple Leafs a lot. So I didn't bet on San Jose on the weekend, although the model showed an edge, and I'm probably not going to do it here today. Um, I just don't want to fudge the numbers. It's just one outlier that's kind of showing up every time as a bet, and betting on the San Jose Sharks every game is a good way to end up in the poorhouse, I'm sure. So, yeah, not going to do that. Flu rumors for the Leafs. Yeah, that could play into it. Maybe they went out celebrating Willie's contract last night. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that contract, Jake? I mean, would you have to be the most biased Leaf fan in the world or the most or JD, our commander, our boss. He's the biggest Willie fan in the world. Somebody like that, unless you're the biggest Leafs fan or the biggest Willie fan, I think it's impossible to look at that contract and be like, oh yeah, that's going to be good in 5-6 years. Like that's not going to be a problem, or that's not going to be a problem 3 or 4 years from now. I mean, how many players are worth that kind of money? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's tough to see it as a win, and of course I'm biased. I want the Leafs to fail, but I also want the Leafs to be good. I think it's interesting to it's more interesting to have the Leafs be good than a bottom basement team, especially for the
Oh,
NHL.
absolutely.
You know, I want the rivalry with the Canadians, but I don't know. It's nuts. He's 27 years old. You know, for forwards,
Yeah.
that's usually like the best that you're ever going to see from a forward. And you know you're paying him for basically his decline. You're paying him the most money that you're going to pay him basically for his declining years. Not to say that he's not going to be a superstar. I'm sure he is, but having four players that make 11 million or over is absolutely nutty to me. I thought that they were ready to make changes, and then maybe when they fired Dubas, they said no, we're not. We're not ready to make changes. So they're going to keep it going. They're going to keep it going, and you know, more power to them, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's just like I love Willie Nylander. I think he's a great player. I think he's, I think he's deserving of a big contract. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, and I know that like every year the numbers are changing. Like, obviously $6 million, a $6 million contract or an $8 million contract is not what it was 5 years ago, even, right? And it's a different league. The salary cap structure is very different. The way players are paid is different. But
Yeah, and just to speak to
it's
Brock's comment in the chat saying that Dom's model thinks he deserves it, I don't think Willie doesn't deserve the money. That's not really what I'm
no,
saying.
no,
It's just
that's yeah.
having that many guys making that much money. It's just unsustainable, and they've kind of proven that it's unsustainable over the last few years. But they're just running it back every year.
Yeah, I mean, isn't he making more than Pasternak now? Like, isn't he making a little bit more than David Pasternak, or roughly the same? Like, and is he better than David Pasternak? I don't know. Like, I don't think so.
Yeah,
um,
that's a tough debate. I'm
right?
sure Leafs fans would say that he is. And this year, I mean,
So
he certainly found another gear. But I think dollars to donuts, I'd choose pasta most days.
yeah, I mean, like over the last 4 seasons, Pasternak is, it's McDavid, Matthews, and Pasternak as far as the guys that score at elite rates. Drysaitel up there too, of course. Not this year, but but yeah, like I mean, I don't know. It's just it's an interesting one for sure. I knew he was going to get paid. Um, yeah, Dom's model doesn't have to pay the guy either. um, but yeah, no, I know. Dom does great work um with his player ratings and all that. But yeah, thank God. Insight Selly at the brass rail last night. Some people know what that means. Uh, but yeah, I think the Leafs are just lucky that Nylander didn't have a 7 or a 5 point period, because if you see how Dom's model adjusted when Chris Letang had a 5 point period, then they would have paid him 15 million, I guess. So just kidding, Dom. I'll kick your ass in Fortnite later. Anyway, where are we at here? What's the next one? Okay, I want to talk about the Blues and the St. Louis, Florida, and the St. Louis, Florida, the St. Louis Blues and the Florida Panthers. Um, because if you don't mind, Jake, could you pull up the money made, money won this year, NHL money lines, um, so we can talk about that a little bit. So, um, this is year to date. Money won against the NHL money line. If you had bet, I just used a dollar. So if you had bet a dollar on every game, Vancouver, the most profitable team in the NHL right now, if you had just bet a dollar flat bet every single Canucks game, you'd be up $9.02 right now. Winnipeg is next. So two Canadian teams that really were kind of fringe playoff teams heading into the season. the most profitable teams in the NHL on the money line right now. So $8.25 of profit for the Winnipeg Jets. And then you've got some surprises here. The St. Louis Blues, who we're going to talk about a little bit, and the Washington Capitals. They're the third and fourth most profitable teams. The Capitals doing it on the road, winning as bigger underdogs, a little bit more than expected by the looks of things. While the St. Louis Blues, they've made their profit at home. They haven't been a profitable team away from home, but they've made 7.25 units of profit for the $1 better on home ice. And they're up against the Florida Panthers, a team that I think is, arguably the best team in the NHL right now. So it definitely doesn't feel right to consider betting on the St. Louis Blues. But, the bets that don't feel right, there's a reason. If all the easy bets, if the best bets were easy to make, then everybody would be a winner, right? So the Blues, they're 12-6 at home right now. So that has been a big boost for their profits. They've got 10 regulation wins at home, which is great. So the Blues, I mean, they've been defying expectations. That's why I thought it was kind of crazy when they fired Craig Berube. I think they're a bad hockey team. They're a below average hockey team, but I know they've done some of the winning at home since Berube's firing, but up to that point, they really had not, performed under expectations. They had been basically performing right up to expectations if we were kind of taking the betting market at face value, which I think is a pretty good estimation of where teams should be at on a game-to-game basis. So the St. Louis Blues, plus 148 according to the projection model. And that means there's some value showing because the Blues have moved a bit. This one opened with St. Louis plus 157. This was the pinnacle opener. This was after the show, well after the show went off the air yesterday, and that's bounced around plus 156 right now. It got as high as plus 167, so we did apparently miss the best of it on the St. Louis Blues. But let's shop around here. We can see if some of these Canadian books that we've got access to here in the Great White North have some better numbers. And no, I'm not really seeing anything right now. Plus 155, that seems to be widely available, but that's not quite enough to make a bet. Technically, it is enough to make a half unit play. But yeah, so I'm not going to lock in the Blues because I'd have to go to some obscure sports book that I really can't talk about because we only talk about the regulated market here, right? So I don't want to stray too far from the sun, stray too close to the sun in that respect. But look at the plus 160 price point, plus 165 if you're in Las Vegas, because that's at a big prominent sports book, the Superbook in Las Vegas, and I believe they're up and running in Colorado for the last number of years as well. So, yeah, if you have access to plus 165, that's a good bet. And I think they're a decent bet at plus 150. Forget, you know what? Let's lock it in because plus 160 is available at DraftKings. I know a lot of you have access to that. So let's lock in the plus 155. It's just going to be a half unit bet. I don't feel great about fading the Florida Panthers by any means, but this is a betting show, and I took the plus 166 earlier, or early this morning, so I will lock them in at plus 155, but it's going to be a much smaller play, half unit play. Hopefully the Blues can pull off another upset. I got to get a St. Louis Blues hat. I was looking at one recently. It's pretty nice. All right. Plus 155, locking that in. That's available at several sports books that are available all over North America. Sorry about that. But yeah, that is that's my third bet for the day. So we got a half unit on the Blues at plus 155. I'd shop around, look for that plus 160 or better. If you've got access to, like I said, if you've got access to DraftKings, or some of the far and away sports books, there's no reason to take a worse price at another sports book. But for the sake of transparency, let's do plus 155. And elsewhere, I mean, there is not a whole lot that's really standing out. For you look at a Wednesday's 3 game slate, things are looking pretty much bang on. We've got the Dallas Stars. The model thinks they should be minus 170. The Philadelphia Flyers. The model thinks they should be 170. And the Colorado Avalanche, which the model thinks should be minus 133. So everything is within a handful of cents, a couple of cents even, away from where the odds are right now. So looks like there won't be any bets, at least as far as the sides go, um, for Wednesday's games. That's interesting. I have never seen totals up this early for the next day's games before. Huh. That's new. Several sports books, handful of sports books that are listing totals for tomorrow's games. So I'll have to keep that in mind going forward, that we will maybe have some earlier access to some NHL game totals. But yeah, oh, I like how you split it up there, Jake. I didn't see that. You mind pulling that? You mind pulling that back up on the screen, since I do want to talk about this a little more. I know I'm all over the place here this morning, but um, I mean, you see, I just want to talk about the money one. This is a very rudimentary kind of exercise just to see, who's outperforming expectations or underperforming. And like I said, there are some really big surprises, but not really when you think about how betting works. If all of the obvious teams, the good teams, were the way you just if it was just the simple approach was to bet on them and make money, then betting would be easy. But you see, like the St. Louis Blues, the Washington Capitals, the Nashville Predators, the Philadelphia Flyers, hell, the Montreal Canadiens are in the top 10 as far as being profitable. They've made betters 3.3 units on the road. They've only lost 2.2 units at home or 2.3 units at home because they're such big underdogs all the time. So you don't need to win at a high rate in order to make a profit betting on a team like the Montreal Canadiens. Arizona's up there just barely. Colorado is still in the mix. Detroit and Boston. And then you look down at the teams that have been the least profitable, that have lost bettors the most money. You've got the Ottawa Senators, no surprise there. They've really underperformed expectations. And of course, the San Jose Sharks, the worst team in the NHL right now. The Minnesota Wild, another team that just hasn't been able to get it together. And Tampa Bay, a team that really, I mean, you'd think they would have kind of exceeded expectations, considering they didn't totally bottom out with Andrei Vasilevsky, but they have, I've been betting against them more than I've been betting on them. And one of the reasons is that their odds are often inflated, in my opinion. So it makes sense that they have to win a lot more than the odds suggest in order to be profitable. Carolina, surprise, they haven't been a profitable bet on the home or away this season. Chicago, no surprise there. They've been on a big road losing streak, and they've lost 8 units for bettors on the road as a result. New Jersey Devils, still a strong road team. They've been, they haven't been a profitable team. You've lost 6.3 units betting on them at home if you bet a 1 unit on them in every game, and that's equated to being down about 3 units overall on the New Jersey Devils. So, I mean, teams like Toronto, Los Angeles, even, they've had such a poor run at home. They've lost bettors 8 units at home, but they've made about 6 back on the road because they've been so good away from home. The Kings have. So this can really kind of illustrate just why you should be looking at certain teams. I mean, I saw somebody state that they were going to fade the Capitals in 2024. That was the rule. Well, I think the Caps are 2-1 so far in 2024. So that's going out. That's going great. Don't lock yourself into fading teams. That's silly. Only a moron would say something like that, if we're being honest. But um, yeah, I mean, I can't even do most hockey betting content. It makes me embarrassed. It makes me embarrassed to be in the same field with some of these people. um, but yeah, I wanted to pull that together. I'm going to write a little bit more about it today. Some of the outliers and why, teams like the Blues and Caps are where they are. Why they're teams that you should consider betting on more than you are probably. Um, it doesn't, sometimes you just got to hold your nose. And like we've been doing all season long, we bet a lot of underdogs, plus 109 average odds, after almost, well over 150 bets, and we've been winning roughly 54% of our wagers on the season. So bet an underdog every once in a while. Yeah, those numbers are a little different compared to covers team money. Yeah, well, so one, I can tell you exactly where my numbers come from. Closing pinnacle lines, um, that is what I'm using. So arguably, really the most efficient line out there in the market. I have no idea what Covers is using. I have no idea what OddsShark is using. They also do an NHL standings, money won, money lost kind of thing. I've got no idea. I actually just calculate this myself. It's all from my database. And yeah, like the other thing I don't like about the Covers page. So Covers has a NHL ATS page, um, and they display all the things that I display in my weekly betting insights article, which is so you talk about betting trends, like where are we at here? Like how often the home team is winning, away team, home favorite, road dog, home dog, all that stuff, road favorite. I calculate all that stuff. I track all that stuff. I track the percentage, so the win rate of each subset, and then I list that next to the implied odds. So you can see that the home team has won 53% year to date. The implied odds have been 54% year to date. So they're not, the home team overall is not winning enough to be a profitable bet, just blindly be a profitable bet. But the one thing that I don't like about what Covers does is that they have their, I'm going to pull it up right now. They have they have the totals listed, so they have over versus under trends. Uh, all games, like, and it tells you the percent that went over. So 247 games have gone over, 251 games have gone under. But at what total, right? Like at what total? I actually track, the 7, the 6.5. So year to date, there have been 58 games with a total of 7. Only 20 have gone over, 34.5%. Implied odds 47.8%. So you're getting plus money on these totals, but you're not hitting over nearly enough to make a profit. They've gone under 44.8% of the time against implied odds of 55.1%. The 6.5, I look at that. 332 games year to date have had a total of 6.5. 47.9% have gone over, 52.1% have gone under, sorry. But yeah, like, I mean, you've got to have more context in order for a lot of this information to be valuable. So I don't really like, I see what they're trying to do there. I don't like how it's presented. I don't think it, I mean, you've got to do too much still. Like you've got to calculate the percentages. You've got to kind of separate things a little bit more into different categories. But um yeah, I don't know. It's definitely good for clicks, but does it inform you? I don't know. You can check out our weekly article, the weekly NorthStar Betting Insights article that'll be out later today. It'll contain updated betting trends as of today, and you can compare what I have to what Covers has, to what Oddshark has, etc., and see what you like better. And I mean, if you ever want, if you've ever got a question, maybe a specific question about a team, how a team's been doing, feel free to reach out. Maybe that'll give me an idea of something I should be talking about too. So yeah, I don't get enough questions from you guys. My Twitter DMs are open. If you've got a question that you want to talk about, that you want me to talk about on the show, a topic, if you're wondering how to, approach something from a betting perspective, reach out, DM me, and I will. If I can't answer you right then and there, will get back to you, and I'll talk about it on the show. So that would help out a ton. And you know, I should say this more, but I'm only one man. I miss stuff, and you guys all have intimate knowledge of the teams that you follow, the league as a whole. So if you hear anything interesting, like for example, on uh, early Saturday morning, like 5 a.m., somebody reached out to me and DM me on Twitter, and they told me two pieces of information. The first was that Jack Hughes hurt his wrist. Wasn't really There was no real clarification on what his injury was. So this person had some information there. He told me that Jack Hughes hurt his wrist. It was probably not going to play on Saturday. Vancouver was in town. Of course, we bet the Canucks, and that worked out. The other piece of information that he gave me, hours and hours before anybody else reported on the story, was that Connor Bedard had a broken jaw and that he was going to be out up to 6 weeks. So that's valuable information. Both of those stories ended up to be bang on, by the looks of things, and so yeah, people know things, and I want to know things too. So don't hesitate to reach out. Even if you hear something, like if you listen to the local radio show in your market, if you're in an NHL market and you have a show, a radio station that covers the team, they're going to talk about things in a little more detail than national programs and things like that talk about. And I know I learn a lot about the Oilers and little things that you wouldn't know otherwise if you didn't live in the city of Edmonton like I do. So yeah, pass anything along. I can always bring it up on the show. Of course, I'll give you credit unless you don't want me to name names, because like I didn't name the gentleman that told me about Bedard and Hughes, because that's sensitive information, right? So yeah, definitely want your guys' input as much as possible. But yeah, not a whole lot today, aside. So we got a bet on the Blues that we added, and a bet on the over in Vancouver and the Islanders game. That's a 1 unit play. The bet on the Blues is a half-unit play. Of course, we got 1 unit on the Kings at minus or plus 110, which is now long gone. Sorry, I had to burp. It's the Red Bull. Anyway, Jake, you got anything to add to anything?
No, I just wanted to say the chat's been really active today, which is great to see. Just to kind of add on what you said, if you guys are tuning in every day, please let us know in the chat, what you're thinking about that day, what you're betting on that day. If you've got news items that you want us to talk about, just like in Andy's Twitter. Yeah, we want you guys to participate, and sort of we want to mold the show to what you guys want to see. So yeah, get active. It's great to see.
Yeah, no, thanks, Mitch, Connor, Jeremy, Brock, William, Insight in the chat. I mean, you guys are great. The brass flu, that's getting a lot of laughs. I mean, yeah, that brass rail that can I don't know. Does brass I know, like, stainless steel's super easy to clean. Is brass easy to clean, or does that hold on to the bacteria? um, but uh Oh my god. Friend of mine works at the brass rail and said some Leafs players were celebrating last night. So, um yeah, I mean, I I would not be surprised. That would not surprise me. I mean, you're from Montreal, Jake. You must know, like, the what is I don't know if we can I even say the name. Well, if I say the name of the one club in Montreal, they might flag the video. So I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
say.
I know
I'm
what
not
you're
gonna.
talking
It's the
about. So
it's the most obvious name. It's
yeah,
like if you ask like a 4-year-old to come up with a name for this type of establishment, they might come up with a name like this because it's the most just like generic name ever. Uh, Club Super something.
super something. Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sure it was
Uh,
inspired by the superhero movies, that everybody loves. But
yeah.
unfortunately, that club's long gone.
It is
Whether
long gone, is it?
Yeah, whether you
But
perused it or
that used
not,
to be.
it was kind of funny to see they had a big, huge neon sort of sign that dominated that part of St. Catherine Street. But yeah, they're long gone. But yeah,
Long gone? Like, what do you mean long gone?
I want to say
Like
like
how long?
nearing 10 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they used to have big billboards. When you were driving up from the states, a lot of youngsters from the states when they turned 18, they knew that they could go to Montreal and go to the Super Club and have a good time.
Yeah, but so I've always heard from people around the city that that was the place that a lot of NHL players frequented, and they really catered to the away teams, um, and made sure they had a good time and made sure people didn't bother them and things like that. But so yeah, I mean, uh, it's funny to think of all the stuff that we don't know. Like Nashville's another place that I think people just get turned up in Nashville. Like I mean, it's Broadway. There's a party in Nashville 7 days a week. It doesn't matter if it's a Wednesday. There's probably a you know 3 dozen bachelorette parties still going on at any one given time. So I don't know. It's there's a few cities. Vancouver is another one where the players tend to let loose and enjoy the nightlife. Although Vancouver doesn't, it's never struck me as a city that has a great nightlife. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Um, Maybe the nightlife's just absolutely wild now that you can just like do anything you want in BC, not get put in jail. But yeah. So thanks for joining the show. We'll see if the brass flu has an impact on the Maple Leafs tonight. Should be an entertaining game nonetheless. Uh, and yeah, if you have not already, please like the video. Please check out NorthStar Bets via the link in the description below. Uh, Please subscribe to the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel if you have not already. Create another account and subscribe. Do that. I don't know. Do something. But whatever you can do to help spread the word helps out a ton, and we really appreciate it. So we're going to be back on Wednesday. We're going to look ahead to Thursday's NHL odds. Hopefully, find some another bangers like we did on the Kings yesterday. But yeah, thanks for all the banter in the chat. Really appreciate it. Helps me stay on topic. Just kidding. It helps me totally lose my place and go off on a tangent more often than not. So, but I appreciate it. It's fun. Thanks for joining me. I will see you guys all tomorrow.